In this video, I'm going to show you how to add assignments on Blackbaud or Faculty Web. We're going to go to the Gradebook here, which is where all your grades are going to be. So when your Gradebook is already set up, you have two options. You can click on this icon right here, that's a plus sign with a page, and you can add assignment, or if you want, you can also click on Gradebook, and then you can go to Edit Assignments, and then you can type the assignments in this way. Again, everything that is, you'll see I have one assignment in here already. Everything in blue is required, so I'm going to go ahead and add a new assignment through this. And the student due date is usually, say you give a quiz on a certain day, that also helps you keep things chronologically in order. So that is usually going to be your student due date, or if it's a project, you put the due date of the project when they turned it in. And then you have to pick a category. So my two categories are formative, which is things that are, they're still learning in the unit, homework, perhaps quizzes, or summative, which is going to be unit tests or end of unit projects. That's summing up what they learned. So I'm going to choose summative for this one, and let's say it was a unit test, and let's say it was 100 points. What you'll notice by default, it automatically fills in 100 points for me. Because I set that up that way in my gradebook, because most of my summative assessments will be 100 points. And this, you don't have to worry about filling in show assignment. If for some reason your students are saying they can't see the assignment, maybe you'll have to select the show date. But in my experience, it usually will either autofill or if you put nothing, it should by default show it to them. If not, you can make it show as soon as you post. If you're worried about that, you can set it the same as the due date if you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and there's that assignment in there. Now through the other interface, you can still get to it the same way by clicking Add Assignment, but you'll notice how now I have in my gradebook that T1 thing, that little Unit 1 test. It's right here, so I can start entering grades into this thing, and you can just hit enter to go to the next thing, or you can even hit tab if you want to go sideways, but typically you'll be entering all one test at a time. You're not going to enter grades into these category areas. You're only going to enter grades in between these two bold lines here. These averages are all calculated automatically. You'll notice this Q1 is a formative assessment, so you'll see my formative assessment average will change. I'll put an 80 right here because this is out of 100. Now they have an 80 average. And let's say the student made a 90 here. All right, and you'll see that it automatically calculates those averages. Again, because I have weighted averages, summative is worth more. It's in my weights, it's 60%. Formative is 40%. So the average between 80 and 57 is not 66. The 57 kind of pulls it harder because it's worth more relative to the formative. Now, the other way to do it, you can do add assignment, and everything else is the same. You still put the name here. You can even put a description, but that is optional. But to say if your unit test was about parabolas, okay, you can put that there. And then for this field, like the 100 automatically populates for me because that's the most frequent one I choose, but you can change it to anything you want. Say this is worth 50 points. The factor, by default, you're just always going to put this to 1 unless you're trying to double count a test, but typically that's going to be 1 in most cases. And then again, you do have to select a category. Student due date, it automatically fills in whatever today's date is if you're just entering that grade. But say they took this test a few days ago, so maybe you want to move that back so you remember exactly when they took that test, so it lines up with all your lesson plans. And again, you have to select the category. That is always required. And so you can click Save there, and that is the other way to enter assignments in.